And we're back. And remember, didn't you say last time that after that California Raisin Tralala gave us some of the easiest hints you could possibly think of? Why don't you tell us more?
Well, I think it's kind of pointless to tell the player things that he finds out fairly easily through exploration. Like, Zelda is a perfectly good game of things that you can just... simple things you can do to try and figure out where exactly you're going. And it's a case where you either wind up with these, hints that somebody who's played the game for probably 25 minutes has figured out, or it's something that you get with nonsensical hints like you get with the first Zelda with stuff like Dodongo dislikes smoke.
Which is true, actually.
That is correct. Now, see, the interesting thing about that hint was that I thought it meant that you needed to distract Dodongo with an exploding bomb so you could feed him a bomb, but it turns out that's not the case.
No, all you really need to do is, when the smoke hits him, he gets stunned, and then he's vulnerable to the sword. One hit will kill him, no matter what sword you have.
See, the thing is, I never tried a sword on him, because before, I say, oh, I hit him with a sword, not doing anything, and then you see, oh, I can feed him a bomb, and it does this. What if I give him another bomb, and that does more damage to him? So you just kind of go down that train of thought.
Eventually, though, you do have to learn the Dodongo dislikes smoke trick, because if you do it that way, he will always give you an extra bomb to pick up. Very useful.
Really?
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing to know.
That's something that's practically required in any given Zelda Classic quest. Because nobody seems to hand out bomb upgrades.
See, that I was not aware of that. I always just killed them by feeding them bombs.
Yeah. And the worst part is when you've got a quest maker who decides, hey, it's level 2, right? Let's put 3 Dodongos in this room, and the player probably hasn't found the bomb guy yet, but he probably knows about the smoke trick, so who cares?
Yeah, because if you didn't know about the smoke trick then, you wouldn't have enough bombs to kill the Dodongos.
But, difficulty aside, the thing I really hate most about any given ROM hack or quest that people would make is that they always seem to be wrapped up in wanting to tell this big fan-fiction-y story. I don't want to play that junk. I don't want to read your fan-fiction. I just want new dungeons. Is that too much to ask?
Well, the thing is that by their logic, they want to make the game more appealing to people who, say, don't really think about the game as just being one gigantic dungeon. Some people want that fan fiction story. You can't please everybody, unfortunately.
That bee buzzing is getting pretty annoying by now.
Too bad you can't throw your pots at the bee and kill the bee.
If I just hear him say once, hey, listen, I am definitely going to try it.
Too bad, you can't stab him with your sword. And here we are with another one of these guys in a room with no doors. What's the deal with that?
Oh, maybe he's got, maybe he fell down a hole. Sorry, boss,
yeah, that would
I
make
dropped
some
all
kind
your
of
stuff
sense.
when you fell down that hole back there. Hope you don't mind.
See, but the thing is that if it's a hole, one thing you're going to have to do is get a rope, and I don't see a rope or anything like that in his room. I mean, as far as we know, looking up from this perspective, the ceiling is solid. There's nothing to give us any idea that there's a hole or not.
Yeah, but it's like that in every dungeon, even the ones with holes. And
true,
given the perspective, it almost seems like the hole would have to be way, way up there. I mean, for example...
This dungeon's in a mountain. I mean, it would have to be a fairly tall hole. I mean, how long a piece of a rope do you think these guys can make?
Well, you remember the mountain tower in the original game?
Yes.
Remember how when you would go up a few floors and look down a hole, it would seem like, because of the parallax scrolling, that the floor would be way, way down there?
Well, also because they didn't have the CPU power to render anything down there either.
Well,
But your idea is more fun.
yeah, that's what it always seemed like to me. Like, the tower was impossibly tall, and it's not really helped by the fact that when you fall down, you just kind of fall in from the very top of the screen instead of like a proportional jump or something like that.
And he makes that woo 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 noise.
Yeah, they even did that in the GBA version, even though they added Link screaming.
Oh, that must have made you really not want to try to fall down a hole. There was something... I can sense your frustration with that. And one thing that always drove me nuts in that tower was, or at least not in the Mountain Tower, but specifically in Ganon's Tower in the Dark World, was that there was a series of rooms, I want to say it was on the 4th floor, where you had to use the torch to light up one of the room torches. I should say the lantern, not the torch. And by the time you got the thing lit and you walked over to where you needed to go, there was a gap you had to cross. But I could never figure out how to cross that gap when I was, 10 years old or whatever, when I was playing Link to the Past. And it wasn't until I got it on Virtual Console, I never had a ROM or anything of it, that I actually figured out what you're supposed to do with that. And I think Link was supposed to hookshot onto something that you couldn't see in the dark. Oh, it's the red mail.
Is that? Yeah, red mail. Like Brickroad was saying earlier, that the blue mail, red mail progression was too late in the game and too close together. Well, it's still too close together, but they just nudged it forward a little bit.
Yeah, by like one dungeon in this case, I think.
Maybe two.
I thought that you got the blue mail in dungeon number 6 in Link to the Past, and then you got the red mail in Ganon's Tower. Does that sound right?
Blue mail in dungeon 5, actually.
The ice dungeon was dungeon 5?
Yes.
Oh, yes, that's right, because the swamp dungeon was dungeon 6. That's right.
Yep.
But still, that's only 2 dungeons. No, that's 3 dungeons, because you had to go through... You got it at the very end of Dungeon 5, and then you went through Dungeon 6 and 7, and then you got the red mail in Dungeon 8.
Yeah. Of course, if you were playing the game new in 1992, and you were as bad as I was, then you might get a little more mileage out of it than I did.
Well, I just thought, I'm sure they playtested this thing and balanced it out, but would it have really killed them to give the blue mail in Dungeon 4 in Link to the Past? Because Dungeon 4 was kind of a bitch.
Yeah. Especially with the reveal the boss trick. It took me a while to figure out the first time.
You know how I figured that one out was... because some people think they're useless, but the Super Nintendo... the Nintendo Power comic strip had that in it as one of the ideas, and I'm like, that sounds a lot like what I read in the comic strip, and sure enough, it worked.
Yeah. What tipped me off was that this lady was, first of all, not trapped in a crystal or anything. Second of all, was locked 4 cells deep in the lowest dungeon of the dungeon. And you have to have the big key to get through, it's like maximum security, and
then if you try to take her out of the dungeon, which is your first instinct, she's like, oh no, we don't want to do that, And then you go out of the dungeon, and you're like, wait, where'd she go? And you defeated that really easily.
Yeah. And then the compass tells you the boss is in an empty room anyway.
Yeah. We got another stone tablet here.
This stone tablet has a significance because you can't beat the game without it.
Indeed. So we're leaving the dungeon. Let's see, what's the next dungeon that we have to go to?
That's all for this chapter. But
well, yes, I meant in the next video. Where are we off to?
Well, next video we're just going to clean everything up, get the items we missed.
Awesome, I love cleanup videos.
What could be possibly more entertaining?
You gotta, well, you know, it's the drudgery. You have to clean up those loose ends, otherwise, you're just not going to be powerful enough to beat the game.
Well, you could be, but yeah, I figure why not?
See, fairies on a tree seem to be more plentiful in this game. Am I correct in thinking that?
Yeah, on a whole, this game seems easier than A Link to the Past.
Well, it's very generous with pretty much rupees and everything else. Alright, piece of heart, you got another full heart. Congratulations.
Yay, more health I won't lose.
Yeah, that's the other thing. The red mail and blue mail progression is broken in this game because you don't take very many hits.
Exactly.
Looks like we're almost done with this video. That went by really fast.